Right. Do you have this tube with you? Tulani, can you hear me? Right. Okay, let's see. Okay. Do you have the tube? Right. Let's see. Okay. Right. Now we are in grade 11. Now I think lesson plan will be given to you. We are starting the first lesson onwards. That means first lesson is living tissue. Right. Let's see the lesson. Living tissue. Now living tissue. Right. In grade 10 and sometime in grade 9, we have learned about tissues. Now, what is the tissue? Normally, we are studying about tissue like that, a group of cells. The group of cells is known as what? A tissue. Right? Okay, Resha. Now, listen here. Now, what is the tissue? Now, we can't say just as a group of cells. To be the tissue, what happened? There are another 2 points to complete. What are those? You can see here. Tissue is a group of cells which have common origin and modified to perform a specific task. That's why I divide the one sentence as a 3 points to understand that well. A group of cells which have common origin and modified to perform a specific task is known as what? A tissue. Now just listen here. Right. Tissue. Now, what is the tissue according to the note? A group of cells which has common origin and modified to perform specific task. Now look at here. Now look at here. A group of cells. A group of cells which has common origin. Now look at here, Buddha. Now when we take the multicellular organisms, when we take the multicellular organisms, now they have group of cells. They have group of cells. Now multicellular organisms can be taken. Some fungi are multicellulars, plants multicellulars, and animals are multicellulars. And when we take some algae are multicellulars, right? Right. Multicellulars have group of cells. But we are saying like this, but tissues can be seen only from plant and animals. Tissues can be seen only from plant and animals, though others are multicellulars. Fungi and algae don't have tissues. Why? Tissue is not just a group of cells. It should have common origin. Common origin means, now when we take our body, those cells form from some particular part of the body. Just we can say like that as a common origin. And all of these cells modified to perform a specific task. As an example, have you heard about xylem tissue and phloem tissue? Tulani and Iresha, have you heard about that? Xylem and phloem tissues? Yes. Yeah. Now, when we take the xylem tissue, it is a tissue. Now, xylem tissue completely modified to transport transport water and minerals. Now, when we take the phloem tissue, it completely modified to transport food. Therefore, every tissues have its own duty. We call that as it modified to perform some specific task. That's why we are saying, though algae and fungi have group of cells and they are multicellular organisms, but they don't have tissues, because tissue is not just a group of cells. They should have common origin and modify to perform specific tasks. Is that clear with you, Iresha and Tulani? Is that clear? Yes or no? Tulani and Iresha, can you hear me? Yes. Right. Okay. Let's see again. When we take our note, we can summarize our entire lesson like this. Iresha, do you have the tube with you?
No, sir.
Right. Now, when we take the tissues mainly divided to two parts, as the plant tissue and what? Animal tissues. Now, when we take the plant tissue, they have cell wall, because every plant cells have cell wall, and animal tissues don't have what? Cell wall. Plant tissues have cell wall. Animal tissues don't have what? Cell wall. And plant tissues can be divided to two: permanent tissues and, there's some correction, meristematic, right? So spelling should be like that. Meristematic tissue. Meristematic, right? Meristematic tissue, not the meristomatic, meristematic tissue. Permanent, that means plant tissues can be divided to two: permanent and meristematic tissues. Now look at carefully. Permanent tissues don't have ability to divide, but permanent tissues have the ability to divide by mitosis. Right? Now listen here well. Now when we take the plant body, it grows. It has unlimited growth. How does it happen? To grow the plant, new cells should be produced. Those new cells are produced by, just tell me, according to my facts are given here, those new cells are produced by, let me know, either permanent or meristematic. Which tissue can produce new cells? Permanent or meristematic tissues, according to the facts given here. Daham Puta, do you have this tube? Daham, can you hear me, Puta? Yeah, Iresha and Tulani, tell me which tissue can, now listen here, meristematic tissues have an ability to divide by mitosis. Therefore, meristematic tissues can form new cells. Therefore, plant body, the plant grows because of the meristematic tissues. Understand that? Because it has the ability to divide, but permanent tissues don't have ability to divide. That means, Daham, you don't have that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්න චූටක් ඉන්න. Daham, do you have the phone number, Pensala phone number with you?
Sir, my one no Pensala.
No, our number.
I have, sir.
Just give a call and you are able to write it down.
Okay, sir.
Hurry. Okay. Right. I was telling Daham, plant can grow because of the meristematic tissues, because they have an ability to divide and form new cells. Actually, permanent tissues also form from what? Meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissues form new cells. They convert to what? Some of them convert to what? Permanent tissues. Permanent tissues can't divide further. And when we take the permanent tissues, there are living cells as well as non-living cells. But when we take the meristematic tissues, they have only what? Living cells. Could you remember, Iresha, Daham and Tulani, tell me, have you heard about tissue culture? Have you heard about tissue culture? Grade 10. Daham, Tulani and Iresha, tell me, have you heard about tissue culture? Ahala තියෙනවා tissue culture ගැන.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Let me know. Daham, haven't you done that in grade 10? Daham? Okay. Tulani, just to remember, that is in the reproduction lesson. That will be done in the revision class, right? Just listen here. Tulani, could you remember which type of tissue we take to do the tissue culture? Could you remember? Tulani, which type of tissue we take to do the tissue culture? Iresha? We are taking to a meristematic tissue. That means to do the tissue culture, we should take what? Meristematic tissue, because meristematic tissue has an ability to divide. Then new cell form from that. Okay, clear? Therefore, we are taking meristematic tissues and to tissue culture. Then we should know plant tissue, there are two types, as a permanent and meristematic. Meristematic have an ability to divide, but permanent tissues don't have ability to divide. Clear? Is it clear, Duaputa? Daham and others? Clear? Right. Now, when we take the permanent tissues, it can be divided to two. Simple permanent and complex permanent. Simple permanent and complex permanent. Simple permanent has only one type of cell. Complex permanent have many type of cells. Simple permanent have one type of cells. Complex permanent have many type of cells. That means when we take the simple permanent cell, imagine there is only one type. That means imagine the cell type A, there are only single type of cell. But when we take the complex tissue, there are different types of cells. A, B, C, D, there are different types of cells. But don't forget, though they are different types of cells, they have common origin. They have common origin. Tulan, is that clear? That means tissue means the group of cells which have common origin and modified to perform specific tasks. When we take the specially complex permanent tissues, though there are different types of cells, all of them have common origin. That's why we can call them as a tissue. And simple permanent, it has only one type of cells and all of them have common origin. And there are three types of cells. What are those? Parenchyma, collenchyma, and what? Sclerenchyma. There are three types of cells. What are those? Parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Why do I put here L? That means parenchyma is a living cell, collenchyma also living cells, but sclerenchyma is a non-living cell. That's why I was telling, when we take the permanent tissues of the plant, they have living and non-living tissues. Now, when we take the complex permanent tissues, they have xylem, and you have learned about that, phloem. Have you heard about xylem and phloem? Have you heard? Tulani, Iresha and Daham, xylem
Yes,
and
sir.
phloem ahala තියෙනවද නේද?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard about that? Xylem transport water and minerals, phloem transport food. Have you heard about that? Yes. Right. Now look at here. Now we have discussed what is the tissue, we have discussed what is the special feature of plant tissue. They have cell wall. Plant tissues, there are two types as a permanent and meristematic. Permanent tissues don't have an ability to divide, but meristematic tissues have an ability to divide by mitosis. And permanent tissues, there are living and non-living cells, but meristematic tissues, there are only living cells. Then permanent tissues, there are two types as a simple permanent and complex permanent. Simple permanent has only one type of cells. There are three tissues: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. And complex permanent, there are two. What are those? Xylem and phloem. We'll discuss that part later. Is this clear? Is this clear? Up to that, okay. The hum? The hum, how is that? Tulani? Iresha, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now look at here. Now we are going to discuss about plant tissues and permanent tissues. Right. Simple permanent tissue, the first one is parenchyma tissue. First one is parenchyma tissue. Now, what is the parenchyma tissue? Now look at here. Parenchyma means, we can say, this is the most abundant tissue. That is in our note, not a most abundant tissue. That means when we take the plant, we can see parenchyma tissue every part of the plant. And special features of the parenchyma, they have oval shaped cells like that. They have oval shaped cells like this, oval shape. And their cell wall like this. They have cell wall like this. That means we can say like that. We call that isodiametric cells. Right, oval shaped cells. Now, if you have a tute, you can mark them in here like that. Oval shaped cells. And cell wall, we can say isodiametric cell. Isodiametric cells. That means the diameter of cell wall is even, isodiametric. And they have, as usual, nucleus and large central vacuole can be seen. Right? The nucleus can be seen and chloroplast can be seen. Therefore, it can do photosynthesis. Vacuole can be seen. And intercellular spaces. See, in between cells, there are some spaces. Intercellular spaces can be seen. Right? Therefore, when we take the parenchyma tissue, these special features we can take. They have intercellular spaces. They have chloroplast. Therefore, they can do photosynthesis. And they have isodiametric cell wall and they have oval shaped cells. These things can be taken. Is that clear with you? Is that clear? Udaduwa? Turani? Right. Okay. Now, now what are the functions? Now, when we take the parenchyma tissue, I told you that is the most abundant tissue. Now, when we take the fleshy part of the plants, right? When we take the fleshy part of the plant, fleshy part mean, have you heard that, the part that can be eat, like fruit. Now, there's a special name I'll show that. Endosperm. Seeds වල endosperm. Endosperm mean පුතා දුව. Have you heard? Now we are eating pol sambal, right? We get the coconut and we make the pol sambal. The part that we grind actually. අපි කන්නේ pol sambal කියලා, what is that? A kind of parenchyma tissue, right? If we eat a fruit, actually we eat parenchyma part of the fruit, right? And when we take the flower petals of the flower, there's a parenchyma tissue. Now, when we take the plant stem, if we cut the plant stem, the inner layer and outer layer contain what? Parenchyma tissue. And when we take the leaf, when we take the cross section of the leaf, that is in the book. When we take the cross section of the leaf, it was here. Yeah, that is in the second lesson. Just I'm taking that. When we take the cross section of the leaf, there's a palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. This is the palisade parenchyma. These synthesis because there are chlorophylls. Because there are chlorophylls. Is that clear, Putadu? Is that clear? Look at here. Right. These are the function of what? Parenchyma tissue. Is this clear, Putadu? Is that clear? Iresha and Daham, Tulani, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Next one. The function we can write, do photosynthesis, provide strength and storage, food and water. We can write like that. Next one, collenchyma tissue. Collenchyma tissue, actually, when we draw the collenchyma, it has a shape like this. It has shape like that. This one also living cell. This is a cell wall. Now we have seen what we call that parenchyma has an oval shaped cell. But when we take the collenchyma, it is a polygonal shape. It is a polygonal shaped cell. And you can see these corners. The corners of the cells thicker than the other part of the cell wall. Therefore, we can say, see, corners are thick by cellulose. Corners are thick. Corners are thick than the other part of that. And they have chloroplast. Therefore, they can do what? Photosynthesis, polygonal shaped cells, right? And intercellular spaces. We have seen parenchyma, there are intercellular spaces. But when we take the collenchyma, intercellular spaces may be present. Got it? Tulani, Iresha and Daham? parenchyma and collenchyma, when we compare with them, both can do photosynthesis, both are living cells, right? But structurally, parenchyma has oval-shaped cells and isodiametric cell wall. When we take the collenchyma, they have polygonal-shaped cells and what? Corners thick with what? Cellulose. Is that clear, Putadu? Right. Now, when we take the collenchyma, when we take the leaf, and when we get the cross section of the leaf, we can say like that. When we take the midrib of the leaf, this is the collenchyma. The red color part is collenchyma. That means that's why due to the wind, heavy wind, though it is waving like that, the leaf never go now. Because why? The leaf is fixed to the stem by the collenchyma, and it can be seen from the stem as well. Stem එකේ තියෙනවා, when you take the stem, there is a region with collenchyma. Therefore, collenchyma can do photosynthesis and give mechanical support. Understand that? Now, when we take the cross section of the plant leaf, actually this part, this is the collenchyma tissue. Right. Next one, sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is a non-living tissue. Actually, like that. They don't have intercellular spaces. Cells are tightly packed. Cells are tightly packed. And no intercellular spaces. This is a lumen. No, they don't have nucleus. They don't have chloroplast. A kind of non-living cell. Now, actually, sclerenchyma can be seen when we take the plant, the dry part of the plant, like coconut shell, coconut husk, fibers, wood apple shell, right? Those are the sclerenchyma tissue. All are non-living cells. What is the reason for the non-living cell? Look at here. Lignified cell wall. Cell wall is made up of cellulose. You know that? Cellulose are the fibers. Those fibers arrange like that and form a net. A kind of net. Very strong net. That is a cell wall made up of cellulose. Now you can see there are spaces. Through that spaces, any particle can go. Any particle can move through these spaces. That's why we are saying the cell wall is a permeable membrane. Permeable means anyone can go through it. Now what happened? This cell wall also made up of cellulose. Lignified cell wall means all of these spaces are covered by the compound known as lignin. All of these spaces are covered now. Even water and oxygen can't go through it. Imagine there is a what do you call that, metal net, metal net, very strong, but there are spaces. Therefore, anyone can go through it. But if we cover that spaces by a paste or clay or whatever like that, now now no one can go through it. Like that, the cell wall is covered by lignin. That type of cell wall is known as a lignified cell wall. That type of cell wall is known as a lignified cell wall. If lignin deposited on the cell wall, that cell die because inside the organelles in the inside of the cell can't take even oxygen and water, then it die. Therefore, wherever the place, if we have seen a lignified cell wall, cell with the lignified cell wall, it should be a non-living cell. Is that clear, Pudaduwa? Is that clear? Very clear? Daham, Tulani, Iresha? Right. Okay. Now, no intercell spaces provide strength and non-living cell because of the lignified cell wall. There is a lumen. Lumen can put hilak sidurak tiyena. And look at here. When we take the sclerenchyma tissue, I told you, when we take the sclerenchyma tissue, sclerenchyma is a simple permanent tissue. There should be only one type of cell. But when we take the sclerenchyma, there are two types of cells known as sclerites and fibers. Though there are two types of cells in the sclerenchyma tissue, at once present only one type of cell. That's why it was classified as a simple permanent tissue. Now, when we take the sclerenchyma tissue with the sclerites, examples can be taken coconut shell, whole cut, and pericarp of the fruit. Pericarp means potta කියන එක. Now, when we take the mango fruit, the pericarp we remove and we eat it. The pericarp of made up of, you can see the pericarp is very tough, and it is a very tough because of the sclerate cells. And when we take the coconut fibers, right, and when we take the phloem fibers, when we take the coconut fibers and when we take the phloem tissue, there are phloem fibers and there are xylem fibers as well. The fibers of the plant are fiber tissues, fiber sclerenchyma. Is that clear, Budadur? Is that clear? Very clear? Is this clear? Right. Next one, permanent tissues. Right. We have completely finished simple permanent tissues. Now just tell me what are the, just type here, what are the three types of simple permanent tissues? Yes. What are the three types of simple permanent tissues? Iresha, just unmute your mic and tell me. Tulani, Daham. What are the three types of simple permanent tissues? Yes. There are three types of simple permanent tissues. What are those? Iresha, I can't hear you. I can, you unmute your mic, but I can't hear you now.
Parenchyma, columnchyma, serenchyma.
Very good. Parenchyma, collenchyma, and what? Sclerenchyma. Okay. Now we are going to learn about complex permanent tissues. The first one is xylem tissue. I told you the xylem tissue is known as a complex permanent tissues. Complex. That means there are different types of cells. Now, when we take the parenchyma tissue, there are only parenchyma cells. When we take the collenchyma tissue, there are only collenchyma cells. When we take the sclerenchyma tissue, there are only sclerenchyma cells, like that. But when we take the complex permanent tissues, there are different types of cells. Now, when we take the xylem tissue, you can see that there are four types of cells. Xylem vessel elements, trachete cells, xylem fibers, and xylem parenchyma. Except xylem parenchyma, others are non-living cells because they have lignified cell wall. The xylem vessel element like a tube, you can see they have lignified cell wall and there's a lumen. Lumen can බටයක් වගේ. මැදින් හිලක් තියෙනවා. Water can flow through that. See, those cells are different types of cells, but all of them have common origin and they modify to perform some specific task. What is that? Transport water and minerals and give the support. Therefore, xylem tissue we can identify easily. They have lignified cell wall with the pattern like this. Is that clear, Bugadua? Is that clear? Very clear? Clear. Next one, phloem tissue. Phloem tissue, the main function of the phloem, transport food. Phloem transports food, and that process is known as a translocation. That process is known as a translocation. Plant transports its food through the phloem as a sucrose. The sucrose is a kind of disaccharide, a carbohydrate. Remember, grade 10 we have learned about chemical basis of life lesson. Then we have learned carbohydrate. There are 3 types: monosaccharide, disaccharide, and polysaccharide. The one of the disaccharides is the sucrose. Common formula matakada C2L H2N2O11. Now just if you don't know, doesn't matter, right? Now look at here, CU2, right? Now when we take the phloem tissue, there are 4 types of cells: CU tube elements, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. Now when we take the phloem tissue, except phloem fibers, other 3 are living cells. Now when we take the CU tube element, have you seen that the device, the device we use to make string hoppers, it has some structure like that. Like that, the hoppers, the string hoppers, that thread-like structures come from that. Have you seen that? යට තියෙන body plate එකක් like that. And this is known as a CU plate. Food go through that. And this is a living cell. Though it is a living cell, it doesn't have nucleus. Therefore, this CU tube element is controlled by another cell. Attached to that is known as a companion cell. The word of companion also comes like that. Companion cell. Companion cell controls CU tube element. CU tube element transport food. Right? And xylem and phloem we can identify separately because phloem has CU plate and xylem doesn't have CU plate, it has lumen. Is that clear? Is that clear? Tulani, Iresha and Daham? Clear? Clear. Daham, okay. Others?
Okay.
Clear. Right, now we have learned completely finished permanent tissues. Simple and complex. Simple parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Complex xylem and phloem. Xylem has 4 types of cells. What are those? Xylem vessel element, trachete, and xylem fibers, and xylem parenchyma. Except xylem parenchyma, xylem vessel element, trachete, and xylem fibers are non-living cells. When we take the phloem, there are 4 types of cells: CU tube elements, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. Except phloem fibers, it is non-living. Other 3, that means CU tube element, companion cells, and phloem fibers, sorry, phloem parenchyma are living cells. Now, when you take your textbook, there are some big notes are there, but this is the short note which is prepared for the papers. While we are discussing now today, I think we are able to finish the lesson, first lesson, believe, right? Because we are doing some actually bit fast because my plan is to cover up the first term syllabus before the March. Because end of the March, you are having first term test. you have to prepare to the first term test because the questions are prepared from the grade 10 as well. Now we have to do the revision with the grade 10 for the first term. That's why I'm being a bit fast. And if you don't understand, tell me, and all the other theories will be covered with the papers. Now, these are the most important and crucial part of the lesson. Understand that? Right. Next one, we are going to learn meristematic tissue. Right. Now, we have learned meristematic tissues are living cells. All are living cells, and they have an ability to divide by mitosis. Therefore, growth of the plant depends on these meristematic tissues. Actually, the permanent tissues such as parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, xylem, and phloem, all of them are formed from the meristematic tissue. After they convert to permanent tissue, they can't divide further, but meristematic tissues always produce new cells to growth of the plant. Therefore, when we take the meristematic tissue, there are some special features. All our living cells can divide to form new cells by mitosis. They are small cells, then easy to divide. No large central vacuole. Now, normally when we take the plant cell, you have seen there's a large central vacuole and peripheral nucleus. Inside the cell, you can see very dominant. We can see that well because there's a large nucleus. It's a large central vacuole. The side of that, there's a nucleus. But when we take the meristematic tissues, not like that. There's a large nucleus and no central vacuole. Because the main purpose of the meristematic tissue to do the cell division to form new cells. And there are lots of mitochondria. There are a large number of mitochondria. Why? To do the cell division, they need more energy. To do the cell division, they need more energy. Then what happens? They have lots of mitochondria to provide that energy. You know, mitochondria is the organelle that produce energy from the cellular respiration. Great, and we have done that. Got it. Right. Now, when we take the meristematic tissue, I told you there are three types of meristematic tissues. The first one is apical meristem. As a result of that, height of the plant increase. How does it happen? When we take the shoot means stem, and when we take the root, the top of the shoot is known as a shoot apex. The tip of the root is known as a root apex. When we take the root apex and what do you call that? Shoot apex, that means when we take the root and shoot, there are apical meristem. There is apical meristem. As a result of cell division take place here, this shoot go up. As the cell division take place here, this root goes down. Then the length of the part, actually height of the plant, increase because of the apical meristem. Is that clear? Is that clear, Putadua? Idesha and Daham, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Next one, lateral meristem. Now there's a little story. In grade 10, we have learned like that. Have you heard about dicotyledon plants and monocotyledon plants? Have you heard? Dicot and monocot in grade 10. Daham, have you heard about that, Puta? Dicotyledon plants and monocotyledon plants. Have you heard about that? So, Daham, were you not in grade 10? Grade 10 or miss not Bute? Daham, just I'm asking you. All right, those lessons will be done. Iresha and Tulani, how is that? Remember? Dicot and monocot? Iresha and Tulani, can you hear me, Dua? Iresha and Tulani මාව ඇහෙනවද? Have you done that monocot and dicot in grade 10? Yeah. Now, when we take the dicot plants, Daham just that is not the big thing. Now, when we take the coconut and mango, coconut is a monocotyledon plants, mango is a dicotyledon plants. You may have seen the stem, this diameter of the stem increase in dicotyledon plants, but diameter of the monocot plants, like a coconut tree, does not increase. They have even size, top to bottom of the coconut tree. But when we take the jackfruit or mango plant, they are dicot plants, their diameter increase. The dicot plants can be identified easily because what do you call that? They have branches. The plant with the branches are known, we can say, as a dicotyledon plants. The plants without branch is known as the monocotyledon plants. We can say like that. How does it happen? The diameter of stem increase. It happens like that. Listen here. When we take the dicot plant stem, we can see some structures like that. We can see some structures like this. Now, what are those? Now, this is the xylem. So, this is the phloem. This is the xylem. And this is known as a cambium. As a result of the cell division take place in cambium, that means in here, the diameter of plant increase. It happens in this place. We call it cambium. The cambium is a type of what? Lateral meristem. The cambium, that means lateral meristem, can be seen only from the dicot plants. That's why dicot plants can increase their diameter of the stem. That's why monocot plants can't increase their diameter of the stem. Understand that, therefore, lateral meristem can be seen only from dicot plants. Is that clear, Putadu? All right. Iresha, yeah, this is a grade, we are starting today. Grade 11, we are starting today. Okay, Iresha? Have you done the grade 10 lessons in grade 10? Iresha Nilmini? Have you done the grade 10 lessons? Just I'm asking you.
කරලා තියෙනවා සර් මේ ඉස්කෝලෙන් මේ සර්ග් එකට ආවේ 11 වසරේ.
හරි. ඉස්කෝලේ හරි just do you have a little update නේ? Update එකක් තියෙනවද පොඩි?
Yes sir.
හරි එන අවුලන්නේ. අපි මොකද අපි රිවිෂන් එක පටන් ගන්නේ ජූනි විතර. එතකොට ඔක්කොම lessons එක අපි කරනවා. Right? Even when we do the revision for the first term, grade 10 lessons will be discussed. Right? Okay, that means diameter of plant increase because of the lateral meristem. Next one, intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem can be seen from the grass family. From the grass family. That means when we take the bamboo trees, these are known as a nodes. Intercalary meristem is placed in between nodes. As a result of that, the length between nodes increase, then height of the plant increase. The intercalary meristem can be seen only from grass family. Is that clear? Is that clear? Now we completely finish plant tissues. Is that clear, Dua? Tulani, Ilesha, and Nilmini? Oh, sorry, Daham? Right. Now copy down these questions. I give the questions, revision questions. Take your ID book and copy down them. I give you 10 minutes to complete them. Okay. Now look at the board. Take your writing book and write here revision, plant tissues, and copy down these questions quickly. Number 1. What is the tissue? Number 2. Write similarities between parenchyma and collenchyma tissue. Next one, write the differences between parenchyma and collenchyma tissue. What are the special features of sclerenchyma tissue? What are the two types of cells of sclerenchyma tissue? Write names of 4 types of cells of xylem and phloem. Separately. Number 7. How do you identify separately xylem and phloem? Right. Copy down these questions and write the answers quickly. Okay, Dua? Okay, Buddha? Copy down these questions quickly. Daham, don't you have textbook, Pute? Textbook करना दो अगर. Just go through that. Okay, Daham? Finish or still writing? පුතා දුව finish ඉවරනම් කියන්න. Okay, I give another 2 minutes. Right, let's see. First question. What is the tissue? Just tell me the answer. Similarly, the function or anyway, yeah. What are the answer to the first? What is the answer to the first question? What is the tissue? Yes. What is the tissue? Iresha or Tulani, just tell me.
A group of cells within the common origin that has modified to perform particular function in the body.
Very good, very good. What are right similarities between parenchyma and collenchyma? Function doesn't matter. Yes. What are similarities between? Yeah, Tulani or Iresha or Daham. What are the similarities?
Photosynthesis
Photosynthesis. Another one.
provides support.
Provide support, and both are living cells. Both are living cells. Dissimilarities or differences? Yes. What are the differences? Yeah, parenchyma have oval shaped cell. Collenchyma have polygonal shaped cells. Parenchyma have isodiametric cell wall. Collenchyma has corners thick cell wall. Intercellular spaces present in the parenchyma. Intercellular spaces may be present in collenchyma. Those things can be written, right? Right. What are the special features of the sclerenchyma tissue? Yes, what are the special features of the sclerenchyma tissue? Yes, do. Iresha or Tulani or Daham, come on, tell me.
Consists of dead cells.
Yeah, very good. Another one. They are non-living cells. They have lignified cell wall. They don't have intercellular spaces. Right. What are the two types of cells of sclerenchyma? Yes. What are the two types of cells of sclerenchyma? Yes.
Sclerates and sclerenchyma fibers.
Yeah, very good. Sclerates and fibers. What are the four types of cells of xylem and phloem? What are the four types of cells of xylem? Yeah, tell me. Oh, one other. Xylem, xylem vessel element, trachete, xylem fibers, xylem parenchyma. Phloem, CU tube elements, CU companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. How do we identify separately phloem and xylem? Phloem has CU plate and xylem have lignified cell wall. Therefore, those things can be written. Okay. Then another few questions. Question number 8. Dicotyledonous plant have secondary growth or diameter of the stem increase. And write the reason. Question number 9. Write the function of apical meristem. Number 10. Write the function of intercalary meristem. Right. Write the answers for these questions quickly. Right, finished? Tulani, okay? Iresha, Daham? Right. Right. Okay. Dicot plants have secondary growth or diameter of stem increases, sorry. And write the reason. What is the reason for that? The diagonal plants have secondary growth or diameter of the stem increase. Write the reason. Yes. ඇයි එහෙම උනේ? Who can tell that? කාට කියන්න පුළුවන්? Yes. Tulani, Iresha, Daham. We can see secondary growth from the dicotyledon plants. Why? Just write it. Because the lateral meristem can be seen only from the dicotyledon plant. Just write it. The diameter of plant increases The diameter of plant increases due to the cell division of lateral meristem, the lateral meristem can be seen. The lateral meristem can be seen. The lateral meristem can be seen only from the dicotyledon plants. Only from the dicotyledon plant. Next one. Write the function of apical meristem, height of the plant increase. Next one, write the function of integral meristem, length between nodes of the grass plant increase. Right, okay. Now we can move to the animal tissues. Right. First one, epithelial tissue. Now, epithelial tissue we can see on our skin and on our tongue, inside our nose, and body organs covered with epithelial tissue. That means epithelial tissue, the main function is cover the body parts, like a covering. It covers the body part, right? Therefore, we can call that as a kind of cover epithelial tissue. Therefore, they have tightly packed cells. That means cells are tightly packed because there shouldn't be any leakage because it should be cover the surface. Therefore, cells are tightly packed. See, cells are tightly packed, and there is no blood supply. There is no blood supply and have nerve supply. Cells are tightly packed, no blood supply, and have nerve supply. Therefore, imagine if epithelial tissue was damaged, there is no bleeding. There is no bleeding, but there is a pain. There is a pain because why? There is no blood supply, but have the nerve supply. How do we identify epithelial tissue from the diagram? Now, this is the diagram is given here. This basement membrane can be seen only from epithelial tissue. Can be seen only from epithelial tissue, and cells are tightly packed. Cells are tightly packed. Therefore, a feature. And function of the epithelial tissue change with the place of the epithelial tissue. Normal epithelial tissue protects the body organs because it covers body organs. If that epithelial tissue in our small intestine, spelling Swaradi, small intestine, it has an ability to absorb food because food absorption takes place in the epithelial tissue. Food absorb into the epithelial, into the body through the intestine. Therefore, intestine, the epithelial tissue which covered intestine can absorb food and water. Perception of stimulus. Tissue on the tongue can detect taste. Tissue on the nasal cavity can detect smell. Right? That means the epithelial tissue inside our nose can detect smell. Epithelial tissue on our tongue can detect taste. And epithelial tissue on the tissue in respiratory system secrete mucus. That means secretory function. Inside our respiratory system, there are some secretions, mucus. What is wet gatia? There's a wet nature. It happens because of the epithelial tissue can secrete secretions. And next one, filtering function. It can be seen from the nephron of the kidney. When we take our kidney, there are some units known as a nephron. Actually, the urine filtration takes place inside that. Therefore, filtration function can be seen from the epithelial tissue if it is in the nephron. Is that clear, Budadua? Is that clear? Iresha, Tulani, and Daham, how is that clear?
Clear, sir. Yes,
Tulani,
sir.
okay. Are you sleeping?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. Next one, connective tissues. Now, when we take the connective tissues, our bones, the bones and cartilages here, cartilage, and when we take our blood and some tissues under the skin are known as the connective tissues. Because of the connective tissues, our body organs are placed on that particular parts of the body. Sometimes you may have heard some of them say the intestine goes down because if the epithelial tissues are damaged, our body organs start to dislocate. If that happens, sometimes we can't survive. Therefore, those body organs are placed on that particular place because of the connective tissue. And our blood also connective tissue. Right. Now, when we take the connective tissue, there are mainly three parts: cells, and fibers, and matrix. Cells, now when we take the matrix, there are two types, as a solid and fluid. Solid matrix can be seen from bone and cartilage. When we take the bone and cartilage, this matrix secreted by the cell. Just like that, imagine there are some bricks, there are some bricks. Those bricks are connected by the paste. Like that, the cell secrete matrix, then all the cells are connected with each other. It can be seen from the bone and cartilage. But when we take the fluid matrix, example blood plasma, what are those? Blood plasma is a fluid matrix. Blood cells can be seen, but when we take the blood, but when we take the bone and cartilage through the microscope, we can see the fibers. But when we take the blood, fibers cannot be seen. It can be seen while blood clotting, right? White blood clotting, while blood clotting, right? While blood clotting, right? Okay. Right. Now, when we take the blood tissue, we can take cells, platelets, and blood plasma. Cells, there are two: red blood cells and white blood cells. And platelets clot the blood. Red blood cells transport oxygen. White blood cells build immunity and destroy germs. And blood plasma transport carbon dioxide, nutrients, and waste products. And when with the function of the blood, all the things are given here again. Transportation of materials, example, respiratory gas like carbon dioxide. through and hormones, and oxygen is transported by red blood cells. Protection function is done by white blood cells, and maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis means control our internal body. Such as glucose level, water level, and temperature. Right. This is the connective tissue. Is that clear, Budadu? Is this clear? Very clear? Right.
Yes.
Next one, we are going to learn about muscle tissue. A bit right. Actually, we finished our lesson. Right? Next week, I'll do the revision papers. Like that, within a day, I plan to do like this. Now we are having, I think, lesson plan I gave. You can go through that textbook, but sorry, not website. First 2 weeks, that means I plan to cover up our first 2 weeks. That means this week and next week is holiday because of the Poya day. That means after that. Tissue lessons we plan to cover. Now, actually, already we finished the tissue lesson, right? Therefore, sometime we will do some lesson like mixtures or photosynthesis we have to do. Photosynthesis lesson we have to do. After that, photosynthesis also can be done within the day, and that means second lesson. If it happens like that, I'll take fourth lesson for the last term, last day. That can be done within the day. ඒකත් අපි ඉක්මන කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා හිතනවා. Then I'll do mixture and light lesson. There are 5 lessons for the first term grade 11. My plan is to cover up the all those lessons within 2 months. Therefore, we are giving short notes and we explain each note completely. And while we are doing papers, if there are some other theories that will be written and explained. Right? All the papers will be given from here. Understand that? Right. Muscle tissue. Muscle, there are 3 types. Skeletal, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. Right? This is the smooth muscle. Now, when we take the muscle tissue have good nerve supply and blood supply. Muscle tissue made up of fibers. Those fibers are overlapping. The place where fibers are overlapping appear as lines like that. We call them as striations. Striations can be seen. Striations mean like that. Striations can be seen both skeletal and cardiac. That's why I'm writing that here. The common feature for the skeletal and cardiac muscle. But when we take the skeletal muscle, there are some special features that can be seen only from the skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle means muscles that fix to the bones. As a chicken, what we eat is skeletal muscles. What are those? They have cylindrical shape, voluntary muscles, not voluntary, voluntary muscles. That means voluntary muscles mean we can control. If according to our wish, we can move our hand. Therefore, we can control them. That's why we are calling them as voluntary muscles. And fatigue easily. Fatigue means it tired easily. If I do like this within just 5 minutes, I have a pain because my skeletal muscles were fatigued, tired. And multinuclear. Normally, one cell have one nucleus like that. But when we take skeletal muscles, there are several nucleus. Therefore, it is known as a multinucleated cell. and have more mitochondria. Have more mitochondria because they need more energy. Because we are walking because of the skeletal muscles. We are running because of the skeletal muscles. Therefore, we need more energy. Therefore, there are lots of mitochondria. And cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscle can be identified very easily. There are branches like that. There are branches. Branches can be seen. And never fatigue. Not fatigue, never fatigue. Fatigue means if cardiac muscle fatigue means we die because it's stopped. Therefore, cardiac muscle is working continually throughout our lifetime. And have intercalated discs. What are those? Intercalated discs means a kind of clips like that. Those clips connect cardiac muscles with each other. Therefore, intercalated discs can be seen from the cardiac muscle. And when we take the smooth muscle, spindle shape. Spindle shape means like this. Spindle shape, unstriated. We can't see structure like that in here. And not fatigue easily. It fatigue but not easily. Our bladder, our blood capillaries are covered by smooth muscle. It fatigue but not easily. But skeletal fatigue quickly. Fatigue easily. And cardiac never fatigue. Keep it in your mind. Muscle tissue that much. The final part of our lesson, nerve tissues, or we call them as a nerve cells. Very simply, we can say nerve cells are known as a neurons. Nerve cells are known as a neurons. Neurosurgeons. There are three types of neurons: sensory neuron, interneuron, and what? Motor neuron. There are three types of neurons. What are those? Sensory neuron, interneuron, and what? Motor neuron. Actually, sensory neuron, now imagine, sensory neuron connects with our receptors or sensory organs. Imagine I have seen a food through my eyes. Then the sensory neuron that connect with my eye goes to my brain and it sends that message to my brain. Inside my brain, there are interneurons. Interneuron forward that message to motor neuron. Motor neuron take that message to my salivary glands, then secrete saliva. That's why we are saying when I'm seeing a food, the saliva secretes. It happens like that. We will learn that in the sixth lesson as a reflex arc. Now, just keep it in your mind. Sensory neuron connects our brain and sensory organs, and interneuron connects in sensory neuron and motor neuron. Motor neuron bring that message to our muscles or gland to respond to that. Is that clear up to that? Daham, Tulani, and Iresha, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, when we take the neuron, there are two parts: cell body and nerve fibers. Now, this is the cell body. And these dendrons and axon are known as nerve fibers. The dendrons further divide and form dendrites. Actually, dendrites get the message from the previous neuron and it goes to the cell body, and axon carried that message away from the cell body. And axon is covered by some special cells like that. You can see it. Axon is covered by special cover. It is known as a myelin sheath. It increases the rate of transmission. Now, this is the axon. The myelin sheath can be seen like this. And place where myelin sheath interrupted is known as a node of Cranevere. Right? Neuron contains two parts: cell body and nerve fibers. Cell body contains nuclei, Golgi complex, mitochondria as usual because it is a cell. And nerve fibers, there are two types: dendrons and axon. Dendrons take impulses into the cell body, and axon covered by myelin sheath to increase the rate of transmission, and it takes impulses away from the cell body. The place where myelin sheath interrupted is known as what? Node of Ranvier. Lesson is over. Is that clear? Now you can go to the textbook, doesn't matter, but this is a short note. Is that clear with you? Iresha, Tulani and Daham?
Clear, sir.
Clear.
Clear, sir.
Right. Okay. Then next week is a holiday. After that, I'll start photosynthesis lesson. Right? This lesson. Now in your tute, I think I want to know. Photosynthesis is here, mixture is here. First 3 lessons were included here. ඒක තව පාර්ට් එකක් කරන්න තියෙනවා. ඒකේ තව චූටි කැලලක් විතර ඒක ඔයාලට second book එකේ එයි. මේකේ තව rest of the part will be given in second book. Therefore mixture can be done photosynthesis we can finish next week. Right? This lesson. Give me a minute, මට විනාඩියක් දෙන්න. Then photosynthesis is very simple lesson. See, some experiments are in the textbook, therefore those things are not here. අර පොතේ තියෙන experiments එක මම මේකට include කරලා නැහැ, we can write it and we can go through it. That's why. Right? This is the photosynthesis lesson. Very simple lesson. Right? How is our teaching method? Is that okay with you? Iresha, Tulani and Daham? උගන්වන්නව තේරෙනවද? Daham okay. Iresha, Tulani?
Okay, sir.
Okay. If you have some doubt or a problem, please tell me and update me. That will be done. And that's why I'm doing bit fast, because during the March, that means that month, we can do the revision to cover up the grade 10 as well. So අපිට පොඩ්ඩක් strong වෙලා යන්න පුළුවන් all levels ලඟ වෙනකොට, because we do the revision, because we cover the entire syllabus just 3 months before the O levels. Then next, that means totally complete 3 months we do the papers. While we are doing the lessons, we are doing papers, and another 3 months we complete to do the papers. My target is we are doing the papers. That's why. Okay, nothing to do more. Just go through the note. And Daham just call here tomorrow morning, and you will be able to get the notes, right? Book. Okay? Right. Then enough for today. See you. Good night.
Good night, sir. Good night, sir.